Hello, everyone. How are you this beautiful day that the Lord has made? I'm Karen Jane Casey on the podcast Turn to God with Carin. And today our episode is regarding Carin's Book Corner. And Carin's Book Corner is new presentations every first and third Friday from books I've written. And I may give a backstory, read a little bit, or just talk about different topics within the book. And yes, it is all to whet your interest in getting the book. And you can find my books and more information about them in my blogs and podcasts at KarinJaneCasey.com. And at the contact page, you can contact me, give me any feedback you may have, and also you can purchase my books. Click on and purchase the books. So today's read is from my newest release, and I mean really new. And the launch was June 4th. And I did do a premiere podcast on it, and you may want to go back and listen to that. But stand with your armor on. Stand with your armor on. Last week, last podcast, I talked about how a new song rises up relates to my newest book, Stand with Your Armor On. A new song rises up, as you see behind me. I released that book last fall. In it, we talked about the concepts of sowing and reaping and the concept of putting on your full armor. And in that, I shared testimony of things that I went through that were challenging and heartbreaking and what I learned from them and how the Lord rescued me time and time again. And, out of gratitude, I wanted to share this with everyone else. And then I also did the study guide so that others could reflect on their own lives through the study guide. And then that brings me to Stand with Your Armor On. This is a continuation of the concepts of wearing your full armor of God and sowing and reaping, making choices, free will. We have free will to make choices, good ones or bad ones. And in this, it has, instead of all about me and all about you, this is fictional stories, 5 different fictional stories relating to challenges that are going on right now in life, social issues. And then you can see where people were influenced, where they were tempted, where they made choices. And some of those choices brought consequences, and some of the consequences were hard. And through that, you can learn how to stand with your armor on through daily conflicts. So I'm going to, first of all, read a little bit from the introduction, and then I will, first of all, I want to read a review that someone did. Oh, my goodness, it was an awesome review. And you can find it on my website and her picture, Nayeli Cardona. And this is what she said about my book. Carin's new book, Stand with Your Armor On, reminds me of kintsugi, or Kintsugi, the ancient Japanese practice that when something breaks, like a vase, they glue it back together with melted gold. Instead of making cracks invisible, they make them beautiful. Each of these stories contained in Stand With Your Armor On are like drops of liquid gold. They restore rather than hide the scars of the human soul and show a path of redemption through Jesus Christ. This book reveals how, through faith, God can transform your life into a stronger, more beautiful piece of art. Thank you, Nayeli. That is so beautiful. I can just picture that. So now I'm going to read a short portion from the introduction. And the introduction is very short anyway. We all face worldwide evil. With it comes sickness, economic hardship, loss of loved ones, heartbreak, suffering, anger, and increased crime and political unrest. Regardless, have you experienced amazing deliverance from hardships and pain that can only be explained by the awesome power of a good and just God? If you believe in a loving, merciful God, then you must know An evil demonic force also exists. This evil is fighting to bring you nothing but pain, sorrow, chaos, and destruction. Can you sense it all around you? A spiritual battle ensues with light and darkness fighting for your soul. Within each day may be horrible consequences or an overflow of abundance. Are you helpless to the outcome? Jesus explains this ongoing spiritual conflict in John 10:10 in the Passion Translation. A thief has only one thing in mind. He wants to steal, slaughter, and destroy. But I have come to give you everything in abundance, more than you can expect, life in its fullness and until it overflows. Hope is within your grasp when you stand wearing the armor of God. Have you experienced it? Have you fallen victim to acts of violence or rage bringing you down? What about temptations that brought you big mistakes that are followed by horrendous consequence? I come from a lifetime of both good and bad things happening to me within the same time frames. Chaos and conflicts abound while significant moments of peace miraculously come. In that, I am aware that there is a spiritual battle going on, a conflict, a fight for my peace, for my very life. How many of you can relate? Some people will view themselves in life as a little balloon to be randomly tossed about, thrown in all directions or crushed, all with no control over the direction they may travel or land. They lack control over thoughts that seemingly randomly come to them. But we are not little balloons. We are not mere animals. We each have a mind, a heart, and a soul. We have free will, and in that we can and do make decisions. Some people believe themselves as self-sufficient, that they are ultimately in control, the master of their own fate. But at some point, each will learn the length and depth of their own steam, and that power has insurmountable limits. None of us really know what tomorrow will bring. We don't even know whether we have just drawn our last breath. For those of us who believe that the Lord God Almighty, who created heaven and earth and all living things, is the ultimate power over our lives, we can decide to run to Him and to take solace. So that's what I've written about that. And so next, I think that I will read a little bit from one of the stories, just a tiny bit, just enough to whet your appetite. So, this is story 2. Which path will you take? Going beyond a greedy, envious attitude. How many of us know that greed and envy is going on right now? Okay, in the narrative, 2 women from differing walks in life are travelers who happen to meet on a train to Chicago. One is running away from something while the other is in pursuit of a conquest. Will they find a common interest for collaboration? Will they learn valuable lessons from each other? How many tickets, said the booking clerk at the ticket booking window of the Lawrence, Kansas Amtrak railway station? He looked into the eyes of a stressed young woman before him and believed she might be confused. Lady, are you okay? Becky forced herself to concentrate on what the booking clerk was saying while her mind raced. Oh, where am I going? It needs to be a big city far enough away from here. She composed herself. Good morning, sir. I'd like 1 ticket to Chicago, please, the earliest available. While the booking clerk gazed at his documentation for that location and available times, he glanced at the huge luggage bag she had with her. Is that round trip or one way? Becky quickly responded, 1 way. Yes, that will be train number 7501 at 9:05 p.m. $32 for 1 way to Chicago today. Boarding will begin in 20 minutes. You're in luck. We've not yet implemented the additional charge for overweight bags, but it may be enforced by the time you decide to return. She began to rummage through her large purse, and he began to make change for a 50, and she quickly crammed the remainder back into her purse and looked around to see if anyone had been watching. So, obviously, Becky is the one who is running away from something. So, what in the world has she done that she causes her to run away? Does it have anything to do with the money that the wad of money that she just pulled out? Anyway, I hope that I have caused you to have interest. This is Carin's Book Corner, available every Friday. We have new presentations every first and third Friday. As you may know, Turn to God with Carin has episodes every Monday morning where we cover various topics to promote or to encourage hope for healing. And every Wednesday we have Sword of the Spirit, where we actually read some passages from the Word. And this is Carin Jane Casey, author, speaker, podcaster, domestic violence victim advocate, and ambassador for Christ. And I encourage you to go to my website, go to the contact page, and you can give me your comments, your suggestions. Any feedback is most appreciated. And of course, again, the my website is CarinJaneCasey.com. And from there, you can also purchase books. Well, thank you, and God bless.